he was not distracted by the obstacles that he had to face in his life. He was determined that he was going to make the best of an opportunity. He was a baseball player and he wanted to be the best. And he demonstrated that, and by demonstrating that, he was able to break down barriers.
It's been 70 years since he played baseball for the Montreal Royals. But though Jackie Robinson spent just 6 months living and working here, his impact still resonates today throughout the city of Montreal.
This was an integral part of the development of the Jackie Robinson story. Happened right here in Montreal. Even though it was only that 1 year of 1946, he was the first black player in organized ball for over 60 years. And not only did he play well, he thrived, and he was a tremendous player for the Royals, leading them actually to the Little World Series, which is the championship of minor league ball.
It's just someone we were very proud of. He was able to close out the noise around him, focus on what he wanted, not what people said he could do or achieve, but go after what he knows that he could achieve and what he wanted.
Nearly 140 people braved the cold Sunday to attend this event at the historic St. James Theatre, where Mountain Lake PBS screened excerpts of Ken Burns' new documentary.
He was an uncompromising crusader who lifted himself up from humble beginnings to become, for a time, one of the most celebrated men in America. He was a supremely gifted athlete whose skills on the ball field captivated Americans of all races, and in the process, challenged the prejudiced notions of what a black man could achieve.
Jackie Robinson was an inspiration to millions around the world, including Montrealer Chuck ESTE. Chuck was 6 years old when his hero patrolled the grounds at Dollard-des-Ormeaux Stadium.
But I remember as a young fellow growing up just outside of Montreal, being enamored with Jackie Robinson, following his career, and eventually going into baseball myself. I used to practice with the Royals, the Montreal Royals, at the Dollard-des-Ormeaux Stadium where Jackie Robinson played for that 1 year. But traveling all through the province of Quebec, the impression that he made on Quebecers in general, sports people, children, grandparents, so forth, assisted me in any kind of work that I had to do in the province.
Marcel Dugas, an expert on the history of the Royals, says Montreal was specifically chosen by Dodgers owner Branch Rickey as a place where Jackie could be comfortable and could concentrate on the challenges ahead of him.
They seem to believe in the Dodgers organization that cities that had important French-speaking populations would be more welcoming of black players. In '46, 3 clubs in the Dodgers system had black players: Montreal, Trois-Rivières, here in the province of Quebec, and Nashua, New Hampshire, who back then had a very significant French-speaking population. Mrs. Robinson said that she was responsible for choosing the apartment, and she said that basically all the players on the team were on the western side of the city, on the English-speaking side, but she felt that going to the French-speaking side would be less affluent, and it would be easier for black people to rent out there than it would be in more affluent neighborhoods in the western part of the city.
She did mention that the people around, the neighbors, because she was pregnant at the time, they were very, very protective of her. So they would have supper prepared, that when Jackie came home, he would not have the problems, he could relax and unwind. So I think it was more that a little cocoon was built around him and her at that time.
But this discussion was not limited to that 1946 season. Former Montreal Expos star ELLIS Valentine found similar acceptance when he arrived here in the 1970s, but he also talked about the continuing issues facing black ball players.
Well, throughout the time that I was here, Bill, I felt that heaven that they spoke about in the video. I grew up in South Central Los Angeles. It was pretty rough. It wasn't racist or a lot of discrimination outwardly, maybe covert, but not outwardly. But when I got into pro baseball, I found out about that because I didn't know any of that growing up. grew up in a black community, so everything was cool. And when I got with the Expos, and I started to go to places like Jamestown, New York, and Florida, places like that, it was a little bit different from California. And so I started to learn a little bit more about racism and the discrimination and all the issues that was going on. And it was a little more difficult for me at that time because I didn't really know how to accept it. So I had to grow. There was a lot of blacks in baseball at that time, but there were no black coaches. And that was a real struggle that I had coming back to the locker room after the game or coming back to the hotel after the game. Who did I sit with as a young black player? I couldn't sit with the white coaches as easily as the white players did.
One aspect of the integration that really dissatisfied Jackie Robinson was black coaching. That was always a problem with him. And actually the very last public intervention he did, he was honored before, I believe it was the 1972 World Series, just weeks before he passed away. And he took his little time that they gave him to make a speech to say, it's a great honor and this and that, but I think it's really unfortunate that there are no black faces as managers in the dugouts. And that was always something that ate at him, that blacks were not given the opportunity to coach.
While there have been black managers since Robinson died, there are still relatively few black people in positions of authority in the major leagues. That's a problem that Ellis Valentine says has hampered the growth of the game among young African Americans.
We only aspire to do what we see. We don't see them in the big leagues, so we don't want to be in the big leagues.
Panelists and audience members agreed that we still have work to do to achieve the kind of real equality of opportunity that Jackie Robinson fought for. But this event was also a celebration, not only of what Jackie achieved, but the part that this city played in that achievement and continues to play for so many.
It's such a proud accomplishment that we helped him become a Major League Baseball player, that we were the catalyst for change in North America and in the United States.
I'm just wondering why we have not had more of this, even more taught in the schools in terms of the contribution and relating it in terms of such a positive aspect of how you can achieve, your goals during most difficult periods of your life or the challenges you face.
It's kind of an indication of how special of a man he was when none of us here call him Robinson. We all call him Jackie. It's like we all know him in some way.
After he left Montreal, after that last game as a Royal, he wrote, "As the plane roared skyward and the lights of Montreal twinkled and winked in the distance, I took one last look at this great city where I had found so much happiness. I don't care if I ever get to the majors, I told myself. This is the city for me. This is paradise."